So with using the 22 millimeter, you're going to remove the 5 lug nuts. You can get the tire out of the way. If your tire doesn't come off immediately and it's stuck, just start giving it a couple hits or kicks just to make it wobble off that hub. Now, if you don't have a lift like myself, what I like to do is get in, start the car, and say if you're on the driver's side, turning the wheel all the way to the left to give you a lot better access to the back of this. So next we're going to need a 14 millimeter. We're going to take off this this caliper. Help if you go the right way. There we go. So using a large flathead or whatever you got, pry bar, pull the caliper off the brake pads. I like to take my hook and just get it up out of the way. And this is what the brake pads look like. The back pad is actually completely metal to metal. Looks like it's probably a little welded in there, so I might have to beat that out, which brings me to the next tool you're going to need. Hammer. Hammer and that flathead I told you about. But this is what it looks like when you just neglect your brakes. You don't grease it. I'm not saying that it was the customer's fault, because they come from the factory like this, and these probably are original with the year of this vehicle. So like I said, I'll show you how to properly grease them so this doesn't happen again, or hopefully slow this process down significantly. Now, to take off this caliper bracket, you're going to need a 21 millimeter. There's just 2 bolts back here. Make sure you don't have anything under it, because it will fall. Now, to get the rotor off, we're going to need to remove this. I think it's a T27 Torx bit. And pretty much that's pretty self-explanatory. If it's going to come out, it's going to come out. If not, we're going to have to drill it out, which that doesn't take long. It's just a pain. Oh, it's moving. Oh, we're slipping. I wish these Torx bits were like in a 3/8 or a 1/2 inch. I guess I could have bought a special one. I bought a whole kit. Here's what the kit looks like. They come with all these different sizes. It's a really nice kit, but man, working with such a small ratchet sucks. So unfortunately, the bolt made it out so far. We're gonna have to drill it out. So all you do is start with a smaller drill bit, get it down as deep as it'll go. Alright, like I said, once we get that drilled out, you don't need to put a new one in, because that's just from the factory. There we go. There you go, that's what it looks like. Alright, so now we got to, we're going to take these nice little wire brushes and remove as much rust as we can on the hub. Alright, got that cleaned up as good as I'm going to get it. What I like to do is put some grease all around here. So hopefully when the rotor makes contact with this, it doesn't completely rust in there. Just like that. Not perfect, but it works. So now, time to get our new rotors on. Alright, so as I assumed with those brake pads, I had to beat them out with a hammer. So now, anyways, if you actually get, I don't know, a brake company that actually sends you hardware, they used to just give it to you, now you got to pay for it. But if you do get new hardware, what I like to do is take a nice wire wheel and grind down all the rust. Anywhere it makes contact with the new hardware. But that's what I do all the way around. So with my grind wheel, I went ahead and ground down all the rust off the brake caliper bracket and put the new hardware on. And I like to use one of the lug nuts to hold the rotors back, so when you put the caliper bracket back on, everything's where it should be. Now you put your two 21mm bolts back on. I usually like to add grease right to the brake pads, but since I'm one-handed right now, so pretty much you just want to lube up anywhere the brake pad is going to make contact with the hardware. So I'll get the rest done and come back to you guys. Alright, so now that you're all greased up, here's the very front brake pad. It doesn't have the squeaker on it, or squealer, but if you've done everything right so far, these should just slide right in with no issues, which, as you've seen, it slides in really nice. So that's how they're supposed to go in. Now we'll put that other metal backing on here that'll line up with these two dots when we're done, but let's get the back pad in. And that goes in the rear. What that little notch does is once it gets the pad gets really low, this will start squeaking your rotors, letting you know, change the brake pads before you tear up the rotors. And the last thing to do is to compress the caliper piston. Now you can use a regular old C-clamp, or if you have a nice little tool like this, you could just go nice and slow, because remember, you are pushing pressure back up into the system. Some people take off the brake, the cap to the brake fluid reservoir, but you go nice and slow. You don't have to do any of that. And that's how you, then when you're done, you just see how easy those just come out. That's how it should flow. It should be really nice and smooth. But anyways, that's how you change brakes on a Chevy Impala.